I'm your host, Greg Villafana, and we've partnered up with our friends at MPP to deliver short business tips each month. Having expertise in the swimming pool industry and business world, we believe these messages will truly help your business. So without further ado, let's jump into this month's business tip.
Welcome to your go-to podcast for the pool and spa industry. My name is Tyler Rasmussen.
And my name is Greg Villafana. And this is the Pool Chasers Podcast.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Eddie. Appreciate you taking the time to be on the show with us again. So for anybody that doesn't know who you are, can you give a little overview of who you are and the company you work for?
Sure. So Eddie Skehan, Vice President of Operation Excellence for National Pool Partners. And I joined them in December of 2020 and one of the founding members.
Very good. And we had a really good podcast with you and a few of the other MPP guys. If you haven't checked it out, people, you got to listen to it. It's nothing but gold nuggets spread throughout that whole entire interview. But today we're talking about something that I think is especially important, which is fleet management. You know, you're only as good as your fleet. You don't have trucks. It's hard to put all the pool equipment on a bus or on your bicycle or, anything like that and, go clean pools. So I want to talk about that. And the first thing being, it's not just for seeing where vehicles are. Can you touch on that first one?
Combining fleet maintenance and GPS, right? A lot of times, most of the time, when people hear of GPS tracking devices, the go-to is well, that's good, but really all it does is tell me where my truck is and how long it's been there and how fast it's going or was going, right? That's just the very beginning of it. GPS tracking offers numerous things, and we can touch on four of the key ones for me. And one is routing. A lot of smaller companies don't have access to the bigger platforms for route optimization. GPS devices, and of course that'll vary by the service provider, but a lot of them have it to where you can actually upload all of your addresses and it will show it like a heat map, if you will, right? It'll show the icons of all your stops, and most people use Google Maps or something like that if they're a smaller company and get it pretty close. But having that on that GPS and having it actually show you a heat map really helps hone that in and get as much route efficiency as you can. If you look at a 100 pool route, if you can put in one or two more on a day, that's powerful. Another thing is driver habits. Road rage is a real thing, and insurance companies obviously are, we have to have them, but we have to do everything we can to mitigate the rising cost. Driver habits is a real good indication of any issues that you need to be thinking about and how to resolve. And when we talk about driver habits, we talk about numerous things, not just speeding. Speeding's part of it, but the other thing is fast acceleration, hard braking, cornering too fast. All of those are tracked, and it helps you work with that one driver or two drivers, however many you may be, that are braking too fast or hard, acceleration, stuff like that. A powerful thing with that is gamification. You can actually have it to where it'll show you, it'll rate all your drivers. You turn that into some type of gamification, and then you have the drivers competing to get that top score. Very powerful, and once again, it only helps you, and it keeps not only your drivers safe, but it keeps other people on the road safe. Another thing is preventative maintenance, and that touches on, numerous things. Even though a lot of the new vehicles have the indicator that comes up that shows, time to change the oil or tire pressure low or something like that, what we've noticed over the years is a lot of times your employees don't really pay attention to that. They get in the truck, they're off and gone, right? And they see it that it comes up, no big deal, we'll do it tomorrow, or, they may not even tell somebody. Having that integrated in with your GPS tracking, and most of the time that stuff is free, you can set up the schedule. I want to change my oil every 3,000 miles, every 5,000 miles, and it will send a text or an email to your fleet manager or to your branch manager or whoever it is that's responsible for that, helping you keep those trucks running as efficiently and as long-term as you possibly can. And then the last thing, hopefully nobody has to experience it, but we had this happen years ago. theft recovery. When that truck is in the unfortunate situation, if that truck was stolen, that gives you the ability to find that truck and help the police go and get it and relocate it. We had that happen to 3 of our trucks on a weekend. At the time, we did not have tracking devices. This is years ago. We did get the trucks back, but it wasn't because of GPS. Shortly after that, we implemented GPS, and about a year later, we had 1 truck that was stolen, and it did help us find that truck quickly.
Yeah, and you're talking a lot about, technology being integrated with maintenance, and we all know that self-reporting, if you do know, self-reporting on vehicle maintenance is really difficult to do because you have a piece of paper that's a checklist. It rolls underneath the technician's seat, and they think it's something else. It gets crumbled up. You don't have anything, but in this day and age, you got a ton of software out there that's tracking, everything from the credit card, the gas card, to the mileage on the vehicle, all these different things and some aren't free, but it's worth the money because you have these assets that are out on the road and you need to be able to track what's going on with it. And if everybody can get a notification reminder that, this needs to go in for an oil change or this is a problem, but you could also get a bird's eye view of your entire fleet and see what's costing you the most money. Maybe you need to switch manufacturer of vehicles. This is what the biggest, fleets in America, the FedExes and the UPSs and all of them, that's how they do things. And, we shouldn't be any different, right?
No, that's exactly right. And a lot of these services, the GPS, they've come down significantly in price. They used to be about $80 or $90 a month for a bare bones one now. And you can get them $15, $20 a month now with pretty good services that are offered that are included. But, you touched on a good point in total cost of ownership, right? So do we need to switch the type of vehicle we're using? The issue becomes if we look at just the price of the vehicle, the purchase price, one may be $1,000 or $2,000 cheaper, whatever that number may be. But if you look at what it's going to cost you over 5, 7, 8 years, you'd be really surprised that truck that might, if you would have spent another $1,000 up front, that you could be saving $2,000 or $3,000 at the back end. And the other thing too is you have the other things, as you were mentioning, fuel cards and stuff like that a lot of these softwares, they have open APIs, which simply means that the data from one feeds into another. And that's really helpful because you're not logging into 3, 4, 5 systems to get, all this information. It automatically is brought over. So you have one login and you're able to see where your truck is, how much repairs have cost you on that vehicle, when maintenance is due. And another powerful thing that comes in with that as well is your truck inspections. We require weekly truck inspections, daily inspections to walk around, but once a week, everybody submits a truck inspection, and that's where we pick up if windshield wipers need to be replaced, cracked windshields, headlight not working, horns, or something like that. So that's really helping you stay on top of your fleet, making sure that it is good to go and you have no questions of it when it leaves your office.
Yeah, I love that. And I know a lot of companies have some type of, vehicle driving policy, and usually there's a checklist that goes along with it. But this day and age is really no excuse. I mean, some of these even tie into your favorite automotive place, whether it be like a Pep Boys or Brake Masters or something like that. And you can set sort of a, cost threshold on how much money people are allowed to spend on reoccurring vehicle maintenance and different things like that. So tons of different tools out there. I think you can make it what you want it to be, but how serious do you think fleet management is in staying on top of that?
I think, if we look at it, the fleet is probably the biggest expense that you have, and maintaining that, you can't stress it enough. Fleet typically is going to fall second to payroll. But when we look at fleet, that's the main living thing, right? That's what's helping you generate your revenue. That and your employee, those are your 2 biggest assets. And fleet, staying on top of that can't be stressed enough. The other thing too, you mentioned Pep Boys and Discount Tire. There's a lot of those national chains that are tied in with that, and you can set thresholds. So if you have a driver go to one of these places, you can set that threshold that if it's $200 or less, regardless of what it is, go ahead and just, replace it. Then you have other options that, let's say that they go there and it's a $500 bill. If you have that threshold set at $250, And once again, this will vary depending on provider. They won't send your driver away. They will either text you or email you saying, hey, listen, we exceeded your threshold. Do you approve this repair? We're going to do this, this, and this. And a lot of that is just as simple as replying with a text, yes, approved, and they fix it right there. Your driver's not having to come back. On top of your drivers, a lot of times too, can schedule a time to take it in to get something done. So you don't have a driver sitting there waiting to be next in line. They can set an appointment for 2 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever time works best, and they can go in there. Another thing too about GPS that I just thought of is geo-tracking. So you can set up a geo fence, and for employees that aren't supposed to go somewhere, or there's a certain area that you do not want trucks going to, or if your employees drive your vehicles home and they're not supposed to drive them after 7 o'clock at night or something, you can set all that stuff up. And if any of those vehicles go into that area or are operating past a certain time of the day or operating on weekends, you will be notified as well to let you know that that's going on.
Gotta love technology.
Oh, it's crazy. When we look at where it was 20 years ago, it seemed like it took forever to get somewhere. And now, every day, whatever you have today is outdated tomorrow. It's just moving. The best part about that is with the rapid advancement of technology, we've seen a rapid decline in price for these services, which is awesome.
Sure. And I think everything we just talked about, people really need to, you got to coach your team. They got to take pride in the vehicle and treating it with respect, and especially coaching on distracted driving. Don't be on your phone. That's one of the biggest things. You got to know that you're on your phone. It's not like, you shouldn't be on your phone either way, but it's not like another vehicle. You've got tons of different chemicals on board. And if you get into an accident, you're looking at big problems. So it's super important to not be on your phone, respect the vehicle, and kind of just do your thing. But thank you so much, Eddie. Really appreciate your time. Hopefully this motivates people to, take a second look at their fleet and maybe make some changes, some new processes to their business.
Greg, thank you for having us. As always, enjoyed it and hope that was helpful. But yes, fleet maintenance is a big thing. And incorporating that with GPS will really put you on top of it, and you'll see significant savings as the longer it goes on.
Right. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to learn more, you could hit the link in the show notes below or visit poolchasers.com. If you'd like to learn more about MPP, visit go-mpp.com. See you out there, Pool Chasers.